Despite being a shonen series with several battles, Attack on Titan does not fall into the battle shonen category. There is greater importance on the themes, plot, characterization, and narratives than the action sequences. The fights exist not for the sake of splendor alone, but to propel the story forward. Mikasa starts off as an important character due to her being one of the strongest soldiers in the military and part of the main trio, but as the story comes to a close, we learn more and more about her narrative importance. In fact, she becomes almost as important to the plot as Eren, due to how much of a key player she has to be in the treacherous journey that finally leads to freedom. However, she is able to do this because of her abilities, which ties everything down to her unique anatomy as an Ackerman. In this video, we'll get into every tiny detail about Mikasa's anatomical abilities, starting from what led her to become superhumanly powerful and how it allowed the story to reach its much-needed conclusion. Who is Mikasa Ackerman? How has her bloodline always made her a target? Mikasa Ackerman is the deuteragonist of Attack on Titan. She comes from a clan of warriors born with latent superhuman abilities that are awakened when one finds themselves in a situation where fighting back is the only option. Mikasa inherits these powers from her paternal side of the family, that is, the Ackermans. Meanwhile, her mother belonged to the Asian clan and was part of the populace within the walls, as her royal ancestors had a tight relationship with the Fritz family, which led to them relocating to Paradise despite not being subjects of Ymir. What is interesting here is that both the Ackerman clan and the Asian clan were hunted down by the military under orders from the monarchy, as they opposed the king's pacifist ideologies of stealing people's memories from them. Because the members of the Asian clan were not subjects of Ymir, the king's powers as the founding Titan could not access and warp their memories via the paths. The universe of Attack on Titan is kind of similar to the real world, although the names of the nations and the politics are different. While the characters of the show are mostly Caucasian-inspired, we do get to see those belonging to other races, such as Onyankopon and, of course, the Asians from Hizuru or the Azumabito clan. Hizuru, which is a nation canonically occupying the Orient and near the East Sea, is inspired by Japan. The ancestors of the Azumabito clan, being part of the Shogun clan, is also a visible nod to Japanese history. Mikasa's mother was a descendant of this very clan, which by extension meant that Mikasa was Hizuru royalty. Meanwhile, the Ackerman clan were Eldians, but for some mysterious and forever unrevealed reason, they were immune to the founder's memory manipulation. This put the monarchy at risk, as there were groups of people it could not control. To top it off, the Ackermans used to be bodyguards to the king due to being genetically predisposed to acquiring superhuman strength and abilities. Having such a family oppose them while being aware of their secrets was a problem the royal family could not afford to have. By the time Mikasa was born, both clans she belonged to had substantially thinned out, as they were persecuted for generations. The Ackerman persecution only came to an end after Uriris called for a ceasefire due to his friendship with Kenny Ackerman. However, the damage to the clan had already been done. To protect future generations, older Ackermans refrained from telling the truth about their lineage to their offspring, which is why Mikasa did not know she was so strong for the longest time. The businesses and careers of the Ackermans had also been ruined due to constant persecution, and it led to a part of the family living in the capital's underground city, where they grew up in harsh conditions. Meanwhile, Mikasa's branch of the family relocated to the mountains near the outer walls to live far away from the main civilization. Because their businesses had been ruined, they were not very financially fortunate. Meanwhile, the Asian clan were still hunted down, albeit for different reasons. Mikasa's house was attacked because human traffickers wanted to capture her Asian mother and sell her off in the black market as she was exotic. She was possibly the only woman hailing from a foreign race within the walls, as most of the other Asians had already been eradicated. Mikasa, being of mixed descent, was apparent in her appearance, as Jean had once pointed out how he liked her beautiful black hair and mentioned that he had never seen a face like hers. Either way, Mikasa belonged to families that had been hunted down by the military under orders from the crown on several occasions. In the world outside, where people would not mindlessly hunt down Asians for being immune to memory manipulation, Mikasa would still have a target on her back for being Eldian and a resident of Paradise Island. When did Mikasa awaken her latent powers? How did it impact her mentality and anatomy? Mikasa grew up as a naive, innocent, and happy-go-lucky kid. In one of the initial scenes from the time her parents were alive, she was shown asking her father how children were born, which her family was reluctant to answer as she was only 9 years old. She enjoyed living with her parents in a faraway house. Everything changed one day as they were awaiting the arrival of their family doctor, Grisha Jaeger. 3 human traffickers entered their house and killed her father. They then wished to kidnap her mother and sell her as she was Asian. But because her mother resisted too much, one of the kidnappers killed her and captured Mikasa instead due to her being half Asian. That day, Eren Eren arrived at the Ackerman household with his father, and the both of them witnessed the presence of Mr. and Mrs. Ackerman's dead bodies. Meanwhile, Mikasa's body was missing, which allowed them to deduce that she had been kidnapped. Eren found the hideout of the traffickers and killed 2 of them. He then freed Mikasa, but she told him there was a 3rd trafficker as well. Because Eren had let his guard down, he was caught by the 3rd guy who had him in a chokehold. Meanwhile, Eren's knife lay near Mikasa, who was shaking with fear. On the verge of being killed, Eren urged Mikasa to fight back, as she would live only if she fought. Growing up, Mikasa had witnessed several instances of the strong surviving over the weak. She would look at a praying mantis killing a butterfly. She would witness her father killing a duck for their meal. In each case, the stronger party continued to live a decent life because they had the strength to defeat the weak. That thought, combined with Eren's words and the cornered situation Mikasa was in, awakened her Ackerman instinct. Jolts of electricity ran within her body and mind while she held the knife. As it happened, Mikasa suddenly found an absurd amount of strength that broke the hilt of the sword she was grabbing while the floorboards snapped under the pressure of her feet. She then ran towards the trafficker holding Eren and slammed the knife into his back, taking his heart out in one strike. The instances of watching her family die and be sold turned Mikasa into a stoic, introverted, and colder person. Her growing strength also gave her added confidence, at least when it came to protecting Eren and Armin. Part of having the awakening was gaining access to superhuman strength, speed, durability, and the like. The other part of it was acquiring the battle experience of all the past Ackermans via the paths, as the power is somewhat similar to gaining Titan powers. In fact, the clan was born as an accidental result of Titan science experimentation that allowed human beings to manifest the power of the Titans within themselves without having to turn into one. When discussing the circumstances of awakening with Levi and Hanji, Mikasa described it as gaining full control over the body. She had used a similar expression while recalling her backstory after Eren's apparent death at Trost. Meanwhile, Levi recalled his awakening as suddenly knowing exactly what to do. Both explanations coexist because both Mikasa and Levi had essentially acquired the experiences of their ancestors following their awakening. When it comes to Mikasa's switch in personality, however, it has less to do with her awakening and more to do with the circumstances that caused it. She lost her family in front of her eyes and almost got sold in the black market within a span of a few hours. Of course it changed her. Things got worse when Wal Maria fell after only a year. After becoming an orphan, Mikasa was adopted by the Jaeger family, but she lost her new home again within a year following Reiner and Bertholdt's attack on Shiganshina. That day, the residents of the district witnessed another exceedingly traumatizing incident. The combination of every incident mentioned so far created Mikasa's stoic personality. Sometime during the final arc in Season 2, Mikasa explained how she did not have room left in her heart to accommodate people beyond the ones who were already there. She also mentioned knowing how the Shiganshina incident allowed her to know who the few people she loved and wished to protect were, due to which she could not be kind or accommodating enough to understand Historia and Ymir's concerns, especially because Eren's life was in jeopardy at that moment. Although Mikasa was not inherently violent like Eren, she could be extremely ruthless when necessary, especially when she had to protect Eren or Armin. Having lost those who were dear to her over and over again, Mikasa naturally grew to become extremely protective, and being an Ackerman, she had the power to protect her loved ones. Amidst the battle, Mikasa was not the type to lose her cool, and you could credit her Ackerman awakening for that. The only time she lost her cool was when she had to defend Eren and Armin. In conclusion, most of her behavior had less to do with her strength and lineage, and more to do with her being the product of her circumstances. How strong and durable is Mikasa? Really? The show is full of instances that show off Mikasa's strength and durability. There's the obvious knife hilt breaking, floorboard cracking moment from her awakening, which is extremely unnatural. From the first episode, we saw her carry heaps of wood that should have been too heavy for a girl her age. She could also fight off older male bullies with ease while using a technical fighting style instead of raw strength, which was probably a result of her physical body acquiring the fighting knowledge and experiences of her ancestors alongside super strength. She could even lift Eren up and throw him. After she joined the military training program, she became top of the class as the strongest student in her batch. She managed to get a hang of the vertical maneuvering equipment in a flash. She could leave deep gashes on items they were learning to slice while training to slice off the napes of Titans. Her speed feats were great during training. She was an absolute beast in hand-to-hand combat and stronger than all of her peers. She could carry several heavy boxes at once, which made Eren extremely jealous, and the list goes on. In Season 4, we literally saw her carrying several ginormous railway railway tracks with ease, which shouldn't be humanly possible. Another heavy item she often carried in plenty would be thunder spears. Even one can be quite heavy for a soldier, but Mikasa often carried 6 to 8 of them with her. We begin to witness the true extent of Mikasa's battle prowess sometime during the battle at Trost, where she was one of the first soldiers to take out Titans without much effort. Those around her could not help but comment on her exceptional strength and speed, and she herself acknowledged her abilities when she mentioned that she was stronger than every single person present in front of her. During the female Titan arc, everything seemed lost, but Armin had hopes that if Levi and Mikasa went after the Titan, they would have a shot at taking it out. When she fought the female Titan, Mikasa was also very reckless and would have died if she was a regular human and had Levi not stepped in. When the fight shifted to Stohas, she was able to keep Annie's Titan engaged for a while, until Eren transformed into the Attack Titan. However, the Uprising and Return to Shiganshina arcs were probably one of the best depictions of Mikasa's abilities. Kenny's squad members were visibly mortified when she was taking out some of the other members during the battle at the underground chapel, without even breaking a sweat. In Shiganshina, she traumatized Reiner by attacking him with thunder spears. We also witnessed her fantastic aim during this arc. When she wanted to get the area behind his knees to make him fall, she got it. When she went after his eyes with Hanji, the both of them launched a thunder spear at Reiner's Titan. While Hanji's spear hit the inner corner of the Titan's eye, Mikasa's spear hit the pupil dead center. Later, she went inside the armored Titan's mouth and launched a thunder spear there to throw Reiner out of his Titan. The impact of the detonation would have taken out any normal person, but Mikasa was much more durable due to her being an Ackerman. During the raid on Liberio, she launched 8 thunder spears at the Warhammer Titan's nape and survived the impact of the explosion. Porco's Jaw Titan was also visibly aware of her, as he had been made aware of how dangerous the Ackermans were. Before Eren used the jaw as a nutcracker to break Lara Tiber's shell, Mikasa pounced at Porco from a distance and took out 2 of his limbs with one clean strike. All in all, Mikasa's skills combined the experiences of her ancestors as well as her own, considering the fact that she had been fighting non-stop ever since she joined the Survey Corps, till the point where they reclaimed Shiganshina. She's formidable on the battlefield for her strength as well as her versatility, considering how fast and accurate she is, instead of just being a depiction of brute strength. Can Mikasa solo armies? What about her chances against Levi? Mikasa can easily solo armies, at least post-time skip. Prior to that, she might have struggled with too many opponents. At the end of Season 2, she was caught off guard by a pure Titan who crushed her ribs until Jean saved her. Something similar would not have happened to Season 4 Mikasa. This was extremely evident during the Alliance vs. Jaegerist battles following the initiation of the Rumbling. The scene showed us a Mikasa who ruthlessly took down several armed humans at once. While those humans wielded guns, Mikasa took them down using swords, as she dodged bullets and sliced opponents at the same time. While not present in the manga, the anime gave us a moment where Mikasa chopped heads clean off, stacked humans in front of each other, impaled them like a kebab, and caused a massive explosion using their weapons to take down several enemies at once. She then fought like a beast during the Battle of Heaven and Earth, where she was swarmed by enemies. Then there's Levi, who has always been hailed as humanity's strongest. From the beginning, we've seen him solo armies of Titans. In Season 3, we saw him solo Kenny's squad and later kill off the Titans around Zeke and then slice Zeke down to his bone. In Season 4, he fought off several pure Titans in the Titan Forest within seconds and took down Zeke with ease once again. No character in Attack on Titan has soloed armies the way Levi has. However, Levi lost one of his eyes and 2 of his primary fingers following an explosion caused by Zeke. He survived due to his Ackerman durability, but with his index and middle finger gone, grabbing swords got harder. While pre-time skip Levi is evidently stronger than pre-time skip Mikasa, things get a little different post-time skip. One thing that always gave Levi the edge over Mikasa was Levi's age. While she was in her mid-teens, he was in his mid-30s and had been fighting Titans for a long time. Both were Ackermans who had awakened their powers, but there's obviously merit to be given to personal experience where Levi had the edge. However, the difference in their strengths would not be too much, as seen from when Mikasa pounced on Levi to force him into giving her the Titan serum for Armin's sake. Had anyone else pounced on Levi, he would easily overpower them. However, he was having great trouble against Mikasa, and his exhaustion was not so much the problem as Mikasa was exhausted as well. In a versus between the two, he would win, but with medium difficulty. In Season 4, however, Mikasa started using a different fighting style where she would often employ the usage of thunder spears, unlike Levi, who stuck to using swords only. The comparison gets harder here due to the deviation in their fighting styles, and Mikasa probably gets the edge after Levi's injury. However, it's still more likely that prior to the injury, Levi was stronger than Mikasa, simply due to the experience and because of the fact we witnessed Levi solo a pure Titan army in the Titan forest. We also never got to see Mikasa fight a Titan shifter 1v1, unlike Levi, who overpowered both Annie and Zeke by himself. This is not to say that Mikasa can't win by herself against a Titan shifter, but it's just that we don't have many instances of it happening, as she fought Reiner with the other Survey Corps members, the Jaw and Warhammer with Eren, and struggled against Annie in Season 1. Provided Mikasa got the same battle experience as Levi, she may outdo him, as she is not that far from him in terms of abilities despite the experience gap. However, Mikasa lost her Ackerman abilities as the war ended, because her powers existed due to the presence of the power of the Titans. Because the war caused the curse of Ymir to be lifted, both Mikasa and Levi lost their superhuman abilities as Ackermans. What is the true source of Mikasa's headaches? Is she an anomaly in the Ackerman bloodline? Despite Attack on Titan being an information-rich story, we unfortunately don't get too much on the Ackerman bloodline. What is well known is that the Ackerman clan has historically been able to resist the founding Titan, which led to their extermination in the first place. With Eren gaining the founder's powers and being able to affect the past from the future via memories as the Attack Titan, Mikasa continued to be resistant to future Eren's tricks. There's no one true explanation for her headaches, but several things have been implied and shown throughout the series, so we'll discuss all of them. Let's go over how Eren's ability in the Paths work first. The Paths realm transcends the physical realm as well as time. This ability to transcend time is correlated to Titan shifters being able to acquire the memories of the shifters who preceded them. While every shifter has at least one physical ability unique to them, the Attack Titan's special ability is not physical. Apart from being able to acquire the memories of its past shifter, the Attack Titan can send its memories from the future back to the past as well. For this reason, Eren Yeager was able to send his memories to Eren Kruger, Grisha, and possibly every single wielder of the Attack Titan that preceded him. But this is just the Attack Titan. The one with control over the physical realm would be the Founding Titan. Following Karl Fritz's vow of peace, every future wielder of the Founding Titan lost access to the real abilities of Founder Ymir, who was the Coordinate. This is why we don't see any of them pull off feats beyond memory manipulation. However, alternate realities exist within the Paths. As the wielder of the Founding Titan, Eren's lack of royal lineage prevented him from accessing these powers. But after coming into contact with Zeke and a sequence of push and pull with his brother over the control of the Founder, Eren managed to get access to the true extent of Ymir's abilities. As a result, he began to acquire information and memories from every single physical space across time and different realities at once, which is how Eren was aware of the rumbling being the only option for the continued existence of the Eldians. Without the rumbling, the curse of the Titan also could not come to an end. For a problem to be defeated, the problem has to exist in the first place. If it doesn't exist, the problem is, of course, ignored. Eren has lived out these alternate realities and, using the power of the Founder, wiped the memories of every other Titan shifter, who would have otherwise acquired the memories of those realities, as they are all part of the Paths. This very specific reality is of Eren giving up on his rumbling plans and moving into a cottage with Mikasa to live out the remaining few years of his life with her. The reason why he got to live with her was because he had imposed a question on Mikasa when he asked what he was to her. In one reality, Mikasa confessed her feelings, which led to Eren living with her. He then died a few years later as the 13-year curse caught up to him. Paradise was then invaded and presumably annihilated. His other friends, such as Armin, passed away as well, since they were victims of the curse of Ymir. What happened in the main story was that when Eren asked the same question to Mikasa, instead of confessing her feelings, she got embarrassed and told him that she cared so much about him because he was family. Eren perceived it as a rejection and went ahead with his rumbling plans. This did not mean that Eren caused the rumbling because he was salty over getting rejected, but Eren was genuinely heartbroken over the fact that he had no choice but to commit an omnicide. It was also one of the reasons behind Eren becoming so cold and antagonistic following the basement reveal. Mikasa confessing her feelings to him in the other reality had given him the perfect excuse to drop his plan, but Eren knew that for the subjects of Ymir to attain the much-needed freedom, he could not stray from his dangerous path, and for him to not stray from it, Mikasa would have to not confess her feelings. Being an Ackerman, however, Mikasa was immune to the Founder's memory manipulation. We know that when it comes to the event of the reality one is living in, Ackerman's memories most probably cannot be altered or eliminated at all. However, when it comes to memories from alternate realities, it seems that the Founder does have some control over it. The only drawback is that the Ackerman will reacquire those memories at some point instead of having them wiped out forever. Had Mikasa reacquired the memories from the cabin in the woods reality, she would have confessed her love to Eren. To prevent this from happening, Eren continued to wipe her mind over and over and over. However, due to her Ackerman blood, Mikasa was anatomically designed to resist this, which seemingly led led to her constant headaches. This is also why her headaches get so much worse during the final battle, as any recollection of the cabin reality would destroy her resolve to kill Eren. It's not until Mikasa actually kills Eren that she regains those memories and is freed from her headaches forever. Prior to this, Eren believed that Mikasa's headaches were something every Ackerman experienced. He was under the impression that the Ackerman abilities awakened at the command of a host who asked them for protection, which led to them becoming extremely loyal to said host. If the Ackerman ever tried to resist the host's bidding of their own accord, they began to get headaches so that they could not go against the host. Eren believed this because the memories of him being the one initiating global mass murder had made him extremely prone to self-loathing. This led to him not being able to believe someone would love him of their own free will, so he theorized that Mikasa only cared for him due to genetic design. Although Zeke debunked this soon after, Eren used this as ammo to belittle Mikasa and distance her from him so that she would get the resolve to kill him at some point in the future. Towards the end of the story, we learn that Ymir had picked Mikasa to be the person who would help end the curse of the Titans and free her forever. Ymir was stuck within the curse because of her love and decisions, so she resonated with Mikasa, who was also as devoted to the person she loved as Ymir was to the king. However, the conditions for Mikasa's love were much different. For starters, Eren wasn't a tyrannical ruler who had enslaved her and kept her as a concubine. Instead, Eren was someone who had saved Mikasa over and over again. That's also the part where Mikasa loved Eren, not because of any Stockholm Syndrome, but because of her choice. Ymir wanted to know what decision Mikasa would make when faced with the rumbling, because Mikasa choosing to kill Eren was the only thing that could lead Ymir to her freedom. For this, she would constantly try to peer into Mikasa's mind, but was blocked out due to the latter being an Ackerman. This act would seemingly cause severe headaches for Mikasa. Why was Mikasa the only one who could kill Eren? Technically, Levi could have physically been the one doing the killing as well. However, narratively, it had to be Mikasa. For the longest time, she had been extremely loyal to him, protected him, been on the front lines for him, and the list goes on. Mikasa was willing to go against anyone for the sake of Eren, especially because he was all she had left. You could count Armin in this as well, because she did attack Levi, Floch, and Hanji for him, but let's stick to only Eren to make things a little easier. After Eren began the rumbling, Annie questioned Mikasa on whether she would be able to kill Eren or not. Mikasa did not want to kill Eren and was initially opposed to the idea. She wanted to end the rumbling, and she wanted things to go back to the way they were, but that was absolutely impossible because Eren had already gone too far. In the end, she accepted that Eren had to be killed, and it had to be done by her. As someone who has always tried her level best to keep Eren from being killed, it would be weird for Mikasa to accept it if someone else decided to kill Eren, even if she agreed to it. For her character to come full circle, Mikasa had to be the one to do it. Founder Ymir had also picked Mikasa in particular, not because she was an Ackerman, but because of her connection to Eren. It's just that her lineage allowed her to propel in the direction that was needed. There had also been times when Mikasa prioritized others over Eren. For example, during the Battle of Trost in the very first season, Mikasa was put in a more important position due to her strength, and although she wanted to be around Eren, she often swung back to her position and left Eren to his own fate, hoping for the best for him. She used to oppose Eren as a kid as well, when he would do something dumb, and she would throw him against the wall. In Liberio, she did not shy away from calling Eren out for the blunder he had caused by killing innocent civilians, including children. However, there are more instances of her being fiercely against anyone who tried to harm Eren. At that time, she did not expect that one day, Eren himself would become the greatest problem she would ever face. With the fate of the world hanging by a thread due to Eren's actions and the lives of everyone at stake due to the rumbling, the socio-political scenario, as well as the curse of Ymir, Mikasa actively chose to go against Eren once and for all, which is why her killing Eren is not just part of the story, but also a critical part of Mikasa's character arc. To top that off, it would be weird to watch Eren die in the hands of secondary characters like Levi and Reiner. Although Levi and Reiner are fantastic, and Levi's popularity can dwarf that of the protagonists, you'd be hard-pressed to find a series where the final antagonist is defeated by someone from the side cast instead of the main cast. Following Eren's death, Mikasa went back to being a regular human being instead of a superpowered soldier, as the power of the Titans left the world. However, having acquired the memories of the alternate timeline due to being an Ackerman, she continued to treasure them in her mind and heart, which would not have been possible had she belonged to any other bloodline. In essence, Mikasa was created to be free from the very beginning. Eren described humanity within the walls as cornered animals who could not fight back. Meanwhile, when cornered, the Ackermans awakened their powers that allowed them to fight back and become free. Mikasa's story started with Eren freeing her from being sold in the black market. Her acquired freedom led to her awakening her powers, which she used to free and save Eren from the clutches of enemies throughout the story. She's special because she was born as a person who could never be cornered. Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, Mikasa is an anomaly in Attack on Titan. Surely enough credit goes to her own decisions that led to her loving Eren, protecting him, and finally killing him. However, it would not have been possible had she not been an Ackerman. It is her lineage that allowed her to protect the person she loved, as it gave her unbelievable strength. It is her lineage that allowed her to resist the founding Titan, and finally, free her people from a terrible curse and the world from annihilation. And with that, today's video comes to an end. Did you enjoy this video? If so, then don't forget to like and comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.